Hello and welcome to the Sports 2.0 network for our weekly look at the horse racing action this weekend. Obviously, I'm not doing it alone. I'm joined by my partner in crime, my right-hand man, Ace. Ace, how you doing?
Great. How about yourself?
I'm very, very well, thank you. Very excited for this huge weekend of action coming up. But before we go into that, we'll go through a bit of the recap from last weekend, starting with the Queen, Malathat, in the Alabama Stakes. How good was she?
Oh, she was great. And I know everyone's going to say, well, she just did what she had to do to win. It wasn't super impressive of a win. But, winning's winning by an inch or a mile. Vin Diesel said it. Fast and Furious, it's the truth, right? As long as she continues to win, I will be backing this horse 100% of the time. They do say that Saratoga is the graveyard of champions. And although Malatat lost earlier in the year there, she got her revenge on this course and on this group of fillies. And very interesting to see if she's going to, I believe, the word on the street is she's going to rest up. She's not going to race until the Breeders' Cup, which has been a similar approach that Brad Cox has been taking with this horse. And uh, I'm excited to see her charged up and saved up for Del Mar. How about you?
Yeah, I think we both know she's a superstar. Do you think that like having what we're on August, maybe like 3 months, a 3 month break is going to could it possibly be detrimental to her chances? Do you think, or do you think it's actually going to play into her hands being more fresh?
I think it's going to be that she's going to be more fresh. I like that they're actually kind of taking some time off, reevaluating, putting her into training. Shipping from east to west isn't the easiest thing to do. She's going to have to get acclimated. Del Mar is a unique course. Not everyone likes it. And so I think the key thing will be just that, getting her acclimated, getting her through training. There isn't a big race up until then for 3-year-old fillies that I can think of that is all like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's skipping this. So as long as she's ready to run for the big money, I'm going to be happy for her.
I know we quite like seeing the big superstars like as often as possible, but I do quite like the idea of not seeing her for 2 months and then like when you do see her again, like it's extra special then because you haven't seen her for 2 months.
Correct. Absence makes the heart grow fonder 1,000,000%.
It's always the way.
Hmm.
Elsewhere, we also had Going Global won the Del Mar Oaks, Astronaut won the Del Mar Handicap, and Mo Forza beat Smooth Like Straight in a very, very close finish in the Del Mar Memorial Stakes by a head. Any of those catch your imagination last weekend?
Astronaut was a complete long shot out of nowhere. I didn't have it. You didn't have it. I don't think anyone could have had that one. Mo Forza looks to be a special horse. Looking forward to seeing them stepping up in class and facing some of the better ones, especially from the East Coast. But Going Global also looked good. And like we've talked about, all those horses coming from overseas to just dominate the turf. Don't blame them one bit.
So, without any further ado, we'll get straight into it's a superstar weekend of action at
Hmm.
Saratoga. We'll start with the Travers Stakes, which I think is the star attraction of the whole weekend. It's grade one, over 1.25 miles on the dirt for the 3-year-old. I mean, there's a very particular horse in here that I think we both might have our eye on. Essential Quality. Surely a good thing in this.
I'm going to be going against Essential Quality, and
You
I can't
what? Are
believe.
you sure?
Yes, I am sure. Here's my thing. They already won at Saratoga, and this place is the graveyard of champions. I mean, American Pharoah lost here. So many big names have lost here at Saratoga for the meet. Keep Me in Mind was a half length beaten last time out from Essential Quality. Midnight Bourbon is coming off a disastrous last race. And I think they're going to sandwich Essential Quality, and I think one of those comes out on top. Midnight Bourbon 9-2. Ricardo Santana, Steve Asmussen. You have to worry about those connections. Joel Rosario and Robertino Diodoro for Keep Me in Mind, 6-1. I think they sandwich Essential Quality. I know he's the king, definitely the 3-year-old king. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Essential Quality is just going to rip up here in a very similar way to we saw Malathat last weekend. I think Essential Quality is just far, far too good for this field. Obviously, the Jim Dandy and the Belmont Stakes were perfect responses from the Kentucky Derby, where, again, he was unfortunate not to win that. So we're talking about a horse that should be 8 from 8, but still 7 from 8 is not half bad. I would have it in an exacta this weekend because that is the only way you could possibly have it. And I'm going to go with Dynamic Ore behind him.
Okay. Dynamic one. Yep.
Yeah, Dynamic One, sorry.
That's all good.
That's my spelling that I can't read. I think with Irad Ortiz on board, obviously the second leading jockey at Saratoga this year, Todd Pletcher's striking at 23%, and he won the Curling Stakes here on his last start, which I think is also a very, very, very big plus coming into this. And I would have him just behind. I mean, it's not going to be a close finish, but he'll be second.
Okay, interesting. I like it when we disagree. I very much do.
I mean, it either offers like a bit of optimism for our listeners, or it's almost a kiss of death on more of the field.
Hey, you know what? I've got a feeling one of us is going to be right, so that's good. At least there's bragging rights there for one of us.
So, final thoughts then. Who are you going with in the Travers?
I'm going to go with Keep Me in Mind. I like the close second last out. I do think this horse is coming back into form, and they've shown they can go a mile and a quarter. I just think that they might edge out Essential Quality. It might be the reverse exact of last time.
Yeah, and I'll be going Essential Quality first, Dynamic One second. Next, we go on to the Sword Dancer, which is, again, another grade one. Over 1.5 miles on the turf for 3-year-old plus. And Chad Brown has 2 winners in here, so he has Tribhuven and Rock Emperor. Do you fancy one of his, or are you going elsewhere?
I'm going to go elsewhere, and I mean, I think this is going to be my theme. Luis Saez is running so hot at Saratoga. He's winning the jockey meet by a ton of wins right now. Mike Maker also on fire at Saratoga. He was leading the jockey colony. The training group until Chad Brown got super hot. I'm going to take Cross Border, the 7 horse at 4-1. I very much like his last race, his last victory. Even 2 back, only losing by a head. I think this horse is really coming into form, and I do not think that I don't think that there's anyone special in this race that can jump out and just really impress me. So I figured I'd go with a little bit of a price. What did you think?
Yeah, I think Cross Border is a good thing, yeah. I think 5 from 6 at Saratoga, but I will be taking it on with possibly... Like, this horse has bit me so many times in the past, but I'm going to stick with him because I think he is the class of this field. Japan for Aidan O'Brien. I think he's lost. The races he's lost this season in the Hardwick at, I think it was Royal Ascot, and the Coronation Stakes. He's lost to better horses that are in this field. And then he's obviously won a pair of grade 3s in the green room, and the Ormond. And you talk about a horse that has competed with horses such as like Enable and Magical in the past. Like, this horse is not it's not a mug. Like, it's a very, very good horse, Japan. And I just think he's going to be far, far too classy for this. Like, providing there's been no complications with him going over to the States, I just think he is going to be too good for this field.
It's going to be an interesting one. So we're both not going with the favorite. And, you know, I think, honestly, this is one of those races, if you're playing multi-race sequences, might think about hitting the all button here, just because there's some really good horses. Are there any of them great? I don't know. And if they are going to continue to show just how good they are, this is a pretty decent field. You got Tribhuven. You got Flavian Pratt coming in for this weekend. You got Gouffo, who pretty darn good horse. Rock Emperor, good horse. Channel Maker, oldie but a goodie. All they keep doing is winning. So I'm right there with you. It's kind of a toss-up race, and I don't blame you for going with Japan, the 9-2 morning line with Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien at all.
So you mentioned Tribhuven there. He could possibly go off as the favourite here, couldn't he? Around a fairly short price, really.
Yeah, I think he's going to go off at about 9-5.
Would it concern you? Sorry, would it concern you on that he's never run at Saratoga, would it be an issue?
Not really. I think they've run at Belmont before. They know the circuit. Um, you know, I, I I wouldn't say it's a worry. I would say Flavian Pratt is winning at 38% for the Saratoga meet, and it's a Chad Brown horse. We're both going to be wrong, and this horse is going to win by 5 lengths or something crazy. But I wouldn't say it's too big of a worry.
No, no. So final word on that then. I'll be going with Japan. Who are you going with?
Cross border Luis Saez.
Perfect. And then we move on to yet another grade one at Saratoga because there'll be so many of them this weekend. The Person Ensign Stakes, which is a grade one over 1 1/8 miles on the dirt for horses that are 3 years old and above and are also fillies and mares. It's also a Breeders' Cup Challenge for the distaff. Latriska could be quite short when this goes off. Will you be taking her on?
No, I won't. I won't be taking her on. I think Latruska is special. Irad Ortiz Jr. is, I think, right now, I would say he's the third best jockey in America, but on big days, he really does like to show up. I really root for Swiss Skydiver, who's coming back in this race after facing the boys. And they can always surprise. But, I mean, Latruska has beaten every good girl. She's beaten Antoinette. She's beaten Monomoy Girl. She's beaten Swiss Skydiver. I can't go against her. Underneath, though, where I'm going to try and find some money, I'm going to take Harvey's Little Goyle to finish second. I know he hasn't, performed to his best this year. Great 2020, but he's getting Luis Saez aboard, leading jockey. I don't know. I think this horse can take second. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's very, very hard to go against Latruska in this. The only kind of glimmer that I think it gives the outsiders was she was given it was a pretty heavy defeat last year in the Ballerina where she finished fifth, and I think that might offer a little bit of hope. I quite like as time goes by in here the Baffert
Okay.
horse. 3 from 5 this season, wins in the pair of grade twos in the Santa Maria and the Santa Margarita. I think the biggest question is if she can step up to grade one. I think that there's question marks over Swiss Skydiver coming back in with the girls, but if she can go back onto the Beholder form, then she's a very serious contender. But yeah, Royal Flag as well. I wouldn't dismiss after winning the Chivalry Stakes, but I think I'll probably go 1 Latruska, 2 as time goes by.
3 Royal Flag.
Maybe 3 Royal Flag, yeah.
Yeah. I I, I can't imagine, and so we'll get to another Baffert horse and another race today. Baffert is hated in New York. They banned him for 2 years. He won his court case saying that they could not ban him. He hasn't won yet in bringing horses here. He's 0 for 2. I can't imagine him walking away with 2 wins on the biggest day of Saratoga. He's gonna get one. He's gonna get one because he's got a monster. But I just don't trust Mike Smith coming all the way to Saratoga. I think this one is a walk in the park for Latruska as long as they get a good ride in with Irad. How are they not going to get a good ride? But yeah, I don't blame you looking elsewhere underneath. I'm just trying to find a price.
Yeah, the Baffert thing is a weird one because it wouldn't surprise anybody if he walked away with 2 winners off this card, the biggest card of the year, and he gets 2 winners, despite being the most hated man at the track.
Yeah, he's not showing up for sure. He will not be there. But man, it'll really be something if he does pull off 2 wins.
So next we move on to the Ketel 1 Ballerina, which is a grade 1 over 7 furlongs on the dirt for 3-year-old fillies, 3-year-old plus fillies and mares. Again, it's another Breeders' Cup Challenge race, this time for the filly and mare sprint. I mean, this looks like a pretty open and shut case, doesn't it, really? Gamine?
This is the Baffert winner for sure. Gamin's 3 to 5 morning line with John Velasquez aboard is winning at 12% at Saratoga. there's no speed in this race. There's no speed besides Gamine. This horse can go out and jog for the first 2 furlongs in like 24 seconds, and no horse will be next to her. She could jog backwards and win this race, is what it really looks like. So I went right to the okay, Gamine's going to be on top. Can't bet her to win because she's going to pay like 1 to 5. I like Lake Avenue, the 2 at 12 to 1 to take second, just for a price, just so I can have something of an exacta. Where were your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you. Except for the big differences, I'll be going with CC as second. She's the only other one in this race that remotely interests me. She's 2 from 3 this season. She bounced back from a defeat in the Santa Maria by winning the Princess Rooney, and she was very good last season. So the ability is definitely there. But I mean, like you said, they are getting nowhere near Gamine at all.
What's interesting to me, and listen, I'm fine with sticking with a winning jockey, right? And I'm not saying that Victor Espinoza is a slouch because he's not. He won the Triple Crown not too long ago. But the fact that you have a West Coast horse shipping in, and you have Flavian Pratt there that day, and you go, no Flavian, no thanks. I'm gonna ship my guy across the country just for this race. I mean, I would love a lot more if CC had Flavian aboard, but I understand sticking with Victor. I just hope Victor is at Santa Anita Del Mar, shipping all the way across the country. I hope he performs well, but I mean, it's all about who's taking second in this race.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So you'll be going with who for second?
Lake Avenue, the 2 horse.
2, and I'll be taking the 7 CC. So next we've got the Forego Stakes, Grade 1, over 7 furlongs on the dirt. Again, this is for 3-year-old plus. And I mean, this looks like a very, very open race. What do you think?
I I completely agree. I I have the hardest time picking this race, and in all honesty, I think I'm going to go back to back. And so the race previously, John Velasquez, I think he goes back to back. I like Mind Control, Todd Pletcher, 7-2. He's coming off a nice win. Um, and what I like about it is this horse hasn't run in a while, and I do feel like you come off a nice stakes win and you take your time, you find the right race. I feel like everything has been pointed for this horse to this race, so I'm going to take Mind Control at 7-2. Where did you land?
I mean, it is a case of where I landed because I did have a proper ordeal going through these. So I came to the conclusion I'm not going to go with Mischievous Alex again because he was so disappointing in the Vanderbilt last time out. Same goes with Forensic Fire. So, like, both of them are out of it for me. I think we lost you for a second there, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, but I'm back.
Yeah, so Mischievous Alex and Forensic Fire, I just cannot support them off the back of the Alfred Vanderbilt last time. Obviously, Lexington won that race, but that was his first win at Saratoga for 3, and oh yes, first win in 3 and first win in 7 altogether. So he's going to be far too short for me to support because of that. So I've landed back at Whitmore. I've got the old boy in this because he obviously he loves this race. We had this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? With horses that just love specific races. And I have this vibe with Whitmore. He won it in 2018. And I mean, he's not slowing down. He's been second on 2 occasions this year. And I'll be just taking a chance on him this week.
I'm going to be honest. It's not. I listen. I love Whitmore as a horse. Love, love, love Whitmore. Him and CZ Rocket going against each other, phenomenal back and forth. I just like him more at 6 furlongs. The 7 furlongs, he just doesn't seem to win as much, and I don't want to say it's outside of his distance, but he's 1 for 6 when it goes to 7 furlongs. 6 furlongs, he's a monster. So I don't blame you. I think this is another one of those. Oh, can I hit the all button and then I have my singles elsewhere throughout the card? But I'm going to stick with Mind Control.
Yeah, yeah. And then we'll have a quick word then on the last, or another race at on the Saratoga card, the H. Allen Jerkens Memorial Stakes, which is again another Grade 1, 7 furlongs in the dirt for the 3-year-olds. This is a very much a two-horse race, isn't it, between Jackie's Warrior and Life is Good. So where are you landing?
So I'm really hoping that Life is Good, who, looked great, in his 3 wins, who hasn't raced since March. I hope that all is good with this horse. Mike Smith, yet again, shipping in for this race and picking up some other mounts. But Jackie's Warrior is a freak of nature. This is one of the fastest horses I've ever seen. And the fact that, we are going at 7 furlongs and what Jackie's Warrior did to the last field that you saw, I'm sorry. I think Jackie's Warrior is untouchable. I just hope that we get something better than 3-5.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of superstars involved on the card at Saratoga this weekend, but I feel like Life is Good is the one I'm most looking forward to seeing, just to see if he's at the same level he was back in what was it, March
March,
when we
yeah.
last saw him.
Yeah.
I would probably be sticking by him purely because I don't think Todd Pletcher would have stuck him in this race unless he was back at that level. Because I know that they flirted with putting him back in races and then not put him in because obviously he wasn't 100%. I'm feeling like now he's 100%, and we are going to see the very best of Life is Good.
I really do think this is a tune-up race for getting them back to the West Coast. I think the fact that Jackie's Warrior is here, like if Life is Good does show up and does take a nice second, great. I don't like this horse's workouts. They haven't been absolutely stunning me. They haven't shown me that Life is Good can keep up. And I mean, Jackie's Warrior could stumble out of the gate and I still think beat this field by an impressive amount. I just don't see it happening. I mean, I think this one's the best sprinter in America right now by far. So
you were sticking with Jackie's Warrior in that one then?
for sure, for sure.
So to round off then, your best bet for the weekend, where you going?
My best bet for the weekend is probably going to be. Oh, let me look here. I don't think anyone's going to touch Latruska, so I'm going to go with the Latruska Harvey's Little Goyle 6'8" exacta. I'm going to take Irad Ortiz and Luis Saez, and at Saratoga, it's not a bad thing to do.
Yeah, I think my pick of the weekend is going to be Japan in the Sword Dancer because I just think he's too good for that field.
I don't blame you one bit. Not one bit.
No. Okay, and that just about rounds us off for this the weekend look at the racing. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Ace. And we hope to see you again next Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Sports 2.0 network for all your sporting needs as well. Thank you, and we'll see you next Friday.
Like and subscribe.